Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking a really fascinating journey that crosses continents and scales. We're starting out in the sprawling, sun-drenched plantations of Eastern Europe, and we're going to end up right in your own backyard. If you've ever struggled to keep this notoriously finicky yet absolutely beloved aromatic herb alive, well, you are in the right place, because I know I certainly have. We're going to explore centuries of commercial growing secrets and figure out exactly how to use them for our own plants.
So let's start with a quick mental exercise. When you close your eyes and imagine endless rows of fragrant purple lavender just swaying in the summer breeze, you probably picture the idyllic countryside of Provence, France, right? It's the classic stereotype. But it turns out we actually need to pivot away from France. We're heading toward the equally stunning, yet kinda overlooked, rocky landscapes of the Balkans. Here's our roadmap for today. First up, the Balkan Lavender Trail. Then we'll meet the lavender varieties, look at ideal growing conditions, figure out overwintering your lavender, and finally dive into the art of pruning. All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the Balkan Lavender Trail, exploring Europe's hidden aromatic heritage. To really wrap our heads around this heritage, let's look at one massive number, 8%. Now, 8% might not sound like a lot at first, but when you're talking about global agricultural output, that is a huge figure. Long before the Croatian island of Flar became this glamorous yachting destination, it was literally the Adriatic's undisputed lavender king. Back in the 1970s, the rocky hillsides around the tiny village of Velo Grobje produced a staggering 8% of the world's entire lavender output. I mean, the intense sunshine and rocky earth there, it created the absolute perfect storm for this herb to thrive. But hey, Croatia definitely isn't alone here. If we move east, we find Bulgaria and Greece keeping these old world traditions alive on a truly massive commercial scale. In Bulgaria's famous Rose Valley, the mineral-rich soil and unique microclimate don't just grow roses. They actually create some of the highest quality lavender essential oil on the planet. We're talking operations like the Biolandis farm, managing 60 hectares of pure organic lavender. And just down south, in northern Greece, there's this quiet agricultural revolution happening. In the village of Shirlimni, farmers are actually ripping out old tobacco fields and replacing them with these stunning expanses of purple lavender. It's an incredible shift towards a more sustainable future. Okay, moving right along to Section 2, meet the lavender varieties, translating commercial fields to home gardens. So here's the thing. Knowing your exact variety is absolutely crucial for winter survival. On one hand, we have English lavender, or Lavandula angustifolia. Now, despite the name, it's actually a Mediterranean native. It's super tough, hardy, down to USDA Zone 5, meaning it can usually survive the winter completely outdoors. On the other hand, we have the Spanish and French varieties, the ones with those cute little rabbit ear blooms or toothed leaves. Well, be warned, because they are incredibly tender. They're only hardy to Zone 8, so if you live somewhere with cold winters, these absolutely must come indoors, or there's no way they'll survive. Section 3. Ideal growing conditions. What Mediterranean natives actually crave. Turns out the real secret is just giving these natives what they actually want. As gardeners, we have this terrible habit of kind of over-loving our plants to death with super rich soil and daily watering. But with lavender, all that extra TLC is exactly what kills it. If we look at advice from experts at High Country Gardens, it's honestly incredibly counterintuitive. You basically need to mimic those harsh, rocky hills of Croatia we were just talking about. That means full, blazing sun. It means fast-draining alkaline soil, so avoid heavy, poorly drained clay like the plague. And most importantly, low nutrients. No fertilizer, no rich compost. Remember, these plants evolved to pull life out of literal rocky crags, not out of a plush, heavily fertilized garden bed. Now, here is a hyper-specific, super actionable tip from the Old Farmer's Almanac, especially for those of you growing lavender in containers. To accurately replicate that alkaline Mediterranean soil they love so much, just add 1 teaspoon of lime to your bag of potting mix right before you pot your plant. It's such a tiny adjustment, but it makes a world of difference to the plant's root system. Which brings us to Section 4, overwintering your lavender, keeping your plants alive through the cold. When the cold hits, your game plan depends entirely on your specific plant variety. If you have that hardy English variety outdoors, it's wonderfully hands-off. You just pile a thin 1 to 2 inch layer of straw or shredded leaves over the ground. Notice I said over the ground, not over the plant itself. This just protects the roots from that harsh freeze-thaw cycle.
But if you have to bring your tender Spanish or French lavender indoors, well, that requires a very specific setup. You need to keep them cool, somewhere between 40 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit. They need a ton of light, so definitely bust out the grow lights if you have to. And whatever you do, absolutely keep them away from drafty windows or the dry, blasting heat of your radiators. The real aha moment here is realizing that your lavender is quite literally going to sleep. From September to April, it enters winter dormancy. And because it's not actively pushing out new growth, its needs just plummet. You should only water it when the top inch of the soil feels bone dry. Seriously, if you overwater it now, that unabsorbed moisture is just going to sit in the pot, rot the roots, and spell sure death for the plant. Likewise, any fertilizer you add during dormancy, it won't even be used. It's just going to build up in the soil and become totally toxic. So just let it rest.
And finally, Section 5, the art of pruning, avoiding the dreaded woody twig. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is it addresses a problem almost every lavender owner faces eventually. Your beautiful, bushy herb suddenly looks like a sad pile of dead twigs. I actually found this amazing quote on a massive Reddit gardening thread where people were discussing overgrown lavender. User Has to Put In, who's apparently been growing lavender for 20 years, points out the ultimate golden rule. I've never seen lavender break from bare wood. If you cut down into the brown, hard wood of the plant, that branch is likely gone forever. The whole goal is to open the plant up so sunlight can reach the base, because that is where the fresh, new stems are actually going to emerge from. So, how exactly do we rejuvenate a woody shrub safely? Step 1, wait for early spring. If you prune in the fall, right before a freeze, you can easily kill the plant. Step 2, look for the absolute longest, lankiest stems and cut 2 or 3 of them entirely away, right down to the base. This opens up the whole center to the sun. Step 3, take the remaining linky green growth and cut it back by half. And step 4, reinforcing our golden rule, never, ever cut all the way down into the bare, leafless wood. You've got to stick to the green. But hey, what if your plant is already way too woody to save? Don't throw it in the compost pile just yet. It turns out you can easily snip the healthy green tips off the top of those woody branches, pop them into some well-draining soil, and propagate them. Yep, you can start a brand new generation of perfectly shaped lavender right from the cuttings of your old plant. Talk about a real game changer. We have covered some incredible ground in this explainer today. We've seen exactly how commercial growers in the historic, sun-baked fields of Croatia and the aromatic rose valleys of Bulgaria actually harness nature to create those stunning purple horizons. And now, armed with the secrets of fast-draining soil, winter dormancy, and strategic pruning, you've got the exact toolkit you need to replicate that magic in your very own space. So, having discovered the science behind this incredible plant, the only question left is, will your next lavender adventure be cultivating a thriving pot in your own backyard, or booking a ticket to stand in the breathtaking fields of the Balkans? Thanks so much for joining me today, and happy growing!